Alright, I'm working on character animations for our game Dungeons of Hinterberg. And we don't have a dedicated animator, so all of this is programmer art and macaroni and glitter, and we're mostly importing animations from Mixamo or other, sources, animations from the asset store and so on and so forth, and we're retargeting those, and we need to edit those animations a lot of the time because as it turns out, a lot of those animations need to, match the character or need to match the character to the environment. So I thought I'd record myself showing off the workflow that we use for that. This isn't a tutorial, this is just a stream of me working on a new animation. So what I want to do is I downloaded and retargeted this Mixamo animation down here for the character stepping on a low ledge or a crate or something like that. And I'm going to adapt that using a Unity asset called UMotion, which we make extensive use of in our project for retiming animations, for creating missing animations you can animate right in the engine, or for editing retargeted animations like I'm going to do right now. Not going to do a basic tutorial on UMotion, just going to show you how I work with it. It's a pretty cool package. It's somewhat limited in some respects. It's not a full animation suite like you would find in Blender. There are some, shortcomings, but it's pretty awesome, particularly given the price. I think it's somewhere around 50 euros or something like that. Either way, oops, that's the wrong one. I'm going to load in my UMotion project. Right now the idle animation is active. I'm going to import the stepping animation that I want to edit. All these settings are okay. Okay. And this is the animation, right? So I'm gonna do several versions of this for different step heights, and I'm probably going to blend these together in a blend tree or something like that. I'm thinking I'm gonna do a 0.8 meters high step and a 1.2 meters high step, and my hope, and I haven't verified that yet, is that we can use a blend tree to mix those together for step heights in between. But clearly this is not working. The things I wanna change are I want her to step up in a much more vertical manner. So I want this to not go forward so far. Right now she's positioned so that her character collider would be colliding with the ledge over here, which is what I want. So this foot is actually a little bit too far ahead, too far in front. And I'm just going to start working on that and go ahead, go forward iteratively. And all of this is knowing that I'm not an animator. I'm a programmer, I'm a game designer. But yeah, at some point we're going to have to find a real character animator to take care of that stuff for us. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move her back a little bit as a whole. She has a ton of keyframes in her spine position, of course, because I imported that animation. I'm just gonna move all of that back a little bit, switching to curves, grabbing the whole motion curve along the z-axis and just moving that back a little bit. Not too far. Just a bit. Okay. Next thing I'm thinking about doing is I'm going to make her move a little bit If I do something like this too extensively, like if I squash the whole movement along the z-axis, what's going to happen is that her feet are going to start swimming, as you can see right here. So I'm not gonna do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pin her IK targets so that they are not children of her root bone. So right here. This asks me to modify the existing frames, which is what I want. I'm going to do that here as well. Pin it. Modify. Okay. And now I can start squashing that animation a little bit. So now she's leaning back quite a lot, but that's okay. What I'm going to do first is take care of her back leg, because she's making a wide jump to the front. Actually, the first thing I should have done would have been to, even before pinning those, would have been to move everything up along the along the y-axis, so she's actually standing on the ground at the end instead of intersecting with it. That was a bit of a mistake. I'm just gonna try and undo all of that. Stress test UMotion a little bit. So, are we pinned? This foot is not pinned. How about this one? This one is still pinned. No, it's not pinned. Okay. Pinning just means that by default the IK targets are children of the root bone, and if I pin them, they are not. So if I move this around, along the y-axis in this case. If I move this around, the IK targets, since they are not pinned at the moment, they're gonna move along with it. I'm just gonna scale the motion along the y-axis. So this is nice enough for now. And now I'm going to pin those IK targets, which means that they are not children of the spine anymore. So now I can move those around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change their motion along the z-axis. I want the back leg to be just past the ledge here. What did I do? Oh no, that's okay. Going to have to do this in several steps, I think. Do the same for the root bone. And then the front foot. Is that the front foot? No, that's the back foot. Okay. So around here, she's already doing a way more vertical jump. Let's check this out a few times. Oh, deactivate root motion over here so it loops properly. Yeah. That's already not half bad. So there's a few things I'm going to correct. I don't like the curve that her spine is making here, and here particularly. Going to take care of that with an additive layer a little bit later. Let's see what else we don't like. I want to get rid of this intersection. Let's see if I can do this. That might actually be doable by, let me save the project real quick. That might actually be doable by just modifying the motion along the z-axis. I think I'm going to let it start a little bit later, see what that does. See, that's not half bad. I mean, an animator would probably call this half bad, but for my purposes, obviously she can't reach the IK target here anymore, which results in some unnatural stretching. Going to try to... I'm going to try to make the motion of the root bone alleviate that problem. So along the z-axis, if I can manage to move it out, to move it forward a little bit later, that might help us. Not so much with the IK stretching, but with the intersecting of the left knee with the geometry, or the left foot, as it were. And how about... I'm either going to make this left foot start going up earlier, or I'm going to make the whole root bone start going up a little bit later. Okay, this looks like shit, so I'm going to see what I can do about that left foot then. So we care about the movement along the y-axis now. Oh, okay. Damn, yeah, this is one of the limitations of UMotion, that it can't, you can't have keyframes on the y and z axis separately. Each keyframe is a keyframe on both axes, which I suppose is a Unity limitation, but still. Okay, this sucks. What am I going to do about that? So I want her foot to move up earlier, but I want it to move forward later, or as late as it's doing that right now. I'm going to scale this back over here. This is the way it was, which was fine except for the motion along the z-axis. I'm gonna try something different. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm going to smooth all these keyframes out. Might even delete a whole bunch of them later on. And then scale these. Still not great because the knee is still going through the ledge. Let's see how it looks in motion. It's a little bit better. And I know that I'm really messing up the timing here. But I think I care more about handling the intersections than the timing. Although So if I can get this to stay down even longer. So it's moving out very late, that's good. Still a little bit of an intersection around here. I'm going to scale these down even further. Then so that's only the forward motion of that foot. It's going to stay behind for a long while and then good. So the toe isn't intersecting anymore. Let's look at that in motion. At the end I'm going to see if I can retime the whole thing. So how about the y-axis? So there's still a lot of problems here. It's not intersecting anymore, but this is it's moving up late and slowly, and this is just awkward. But that's a problem along the y-axis. Let's see if we can fix that. We probably can't, but okay, what I want her to do is I want her to stay down a little bit longer. So I'm going to scale those down. And then only here she should start moving up and do that quickly. So all these keyframes are, in an ideal world I would like to delete those, but that's going to affect all the other axes as well. And we're back to the stretchy leg. So this isn't great. So how's that? Okay, here she's not stretching all the way through. Not stretching all the way through. And here this is too much, so I'm gonna try starting the animation up here. That looks a lot better than before, timing-wise. Either that or I just got used to it. Okay. I'm going to look at her root bone next. So she's going down a little bit, preparing to jump, and then she does this jump up here. So I'm wondering, she should probably have some firm footing before she jumps up. I'm just gonna start pushing keyframes around. And if I can move her up quite a bit more, a little bit earlier, That should get us to a point where her legs are stretched out more, which means less intersection here. Now that made it worse. So, what's happening? She's not stretched all the way out. Now she is. Now she's not. I should probably get rid of this stretching over here. So. Okay, these two keyframes are the problem. I'm not sure I'm making it better right now. Either way, perfect is the enemy of good enough. I wanna take a minute and see what I can do about this here, because her toes are going through the floor, and I think I wonder if I should just let her foot take off at this point, so that the toes are just touching the floor. Problem here is this is going to bend her knee and make it end up in the geometry. So probably not. But I want to just try and see what happens. So here she's horizontal. Could of course also see if I can't fix the rotation of the foot. That's probably a better idea. Let's see what happens there. Okay, so this is what happens. Now, these are quaternion keyframes, and those are given as interpolation progressions, which means these don't come with separate axes, which means I can do this, which should also mean that I can do this. Yep. So I can delete those. Did I just fuck something up? No, that works. Why does that work? Huh. I don't understand. But it doesn't seem like there's much of a difference visually, so I'll take it. Probably has something to do with what the interpolation progression thingy means in detail, which I frankly don't know. There's actually some animation in her toes. I'm going to look at that later. For now, I just want to make sure that she only starts rotating the foot as it leaves the ground, which is here. So let's just see what happens if I do this. Well, not half bad, all things considered. Okay. And then we have that little wiggle in the toe. I'm going to get rid of that. So what is this? Is this that's the toe rotation. Which I would assume is completely incorrect, and it probably needs to start here and then maybe end here. Quite honestly, no idea what I'm doing or what exactly I'm changing, but it looks right. See if I can't. Okay, that's really good enough. Again, at some point we're gonna have to hire an animator anyway. All right, let's see. We have this foot. It's sliding around a little bit along the x-axis. Not sure why that is. Might be a thing that happened with the retargeting process. We can see that here. Anything from about here on out is fair game. Because she probably has to do a bit of movement here for the animation to work. Or a bit of movement here was part of the mocap. But this, yeah, I don't care much for this. So once again, the issue here is that I can't just delete keyframes, because that's going to delete keyframes along the Y and Z axis as well. That's probably the biggest pain point I have with this animation software, but I can just scale down the motion. And this is much better. Maybe let her wiggle around a little bit just so it looks more organic. See what that does. Yeah, I guess. Look at what the chittering of the pole target of the knee. That sucks. That definitely shouldn't be part of the animation. That's over here. So that's the pole target. And this is probably something we can just take care of along the x-axis. So So once again, I'm going to scale that to whatever it is at this keyframe. To do that in 2 steps. B. What am I doing? Lovely. Okay, let's see what that does. Yeah, probably need to do something about the y-axis as well. How are we looking on the z? Probably don't need to care about z. Yeah. So let's look at y. Actually, just scale it down. I'm not quite sure why this is moving around so much. Probably because it's a child of the root bone. Even though the pinned IK targets are not, the IK pole targets might still be children of root, which I don't think I can change. But I mean, we did get rid of the jittering, so let's look at this in motion. Yeah, that's not bad. We got bigger issues. Okay, let's look at this next. So here we have an intersection that's quite visible. Let's look at it from this side. So she's just going through that edge. So what we might do here, not quite sure yet, is maybe she could, right now she's stepping up there from below, and what I'm thinking is she could be doing a little bit of a thing where she comes at the ledge from above. Let's see if we can make that work. So she's already doing a little something like that. I'm gonna try changing this manually because it's only a couple of keyframes. See where that takes us. So that's probably an improvement for the last part of the foot's journey. Going to look at this in motion a bit later. Another thing is around here we're still swimming around in the ledge. So the foot is going down a little bit too much, and then it just does. I suppose it's just artifacts from the mocap. What I'm gonna try doing is just flatten this. That actually looks more natural. I like this quite a bit. Okay, let's see what it does in motion, and then we see if we can do something to take care of this. Okay, her knee is definitely doing weird stuff now. Look at that. So we went up too far. Look at that. Okay. So we could either revert what I was doing here or make the root bone move up faster, which in turn would cause some stretching here in the left knee. Still, that might be preferable. So, nah, it's not preferable. The problem is her right foot hits the ledge and then the root bone moves up, which is how things should be, I suppose. Or should they? I could stretch her out a little bit. I mean, the left leg could support that. Let's try. So, this is the Y position of her root bone. Let's see how far we need to go up with that. For this to not look weird anymore. I mean, still does look weird, but okay, I'm going to flatten that. Okay. So in theory, this would work. In practice, it stretches out the left leg. And then this is probably going to lose some of its oomph. We're back to this thing where the left leg stretches out, goes back in again. I'm still going to look at it in motion from the perspective of, did it fix the weirdness here? Of course, here it now has major issues. Though to be honest, it might have had those all along. So the left foot goes out, that's already pretty weird bend, I guess. And this is unacceptable. But here's where she's coming from above. This is what I changed. So that was probably a bad idea. I should have made a backup. Okay. Let's see how far I can undo this stuff. Okay. I'm going to make a backup of this animation and then see what we can do. I'm going to make a duplicate, backup. And then I want to go back to my original clip. So this is where we are. So from the side, this looks pretty good, just looking at the legs and the feet. But from the front or back, this is pretty terrible. So let's stick with the right foot. This is pretty terrible, and it's going to be even more terrible if we... Right now this is a height of 0.8 meters, if I'm not mistaken, and I want to go all the way up to 1.2, which means... that at this point she should actually, if I want to be able to move this animation up by 40 centimeters, this means she's going to have to be doing some sort of jumping around here. So let's say the foot connects. She's probably going to be up quite a bit more with her root bone anyway, and I'm going to try fixing the rest around that, even though it's going to look not great. This is probably the way I should be doing that. So around here she will probably go down a little bit, and from here to there she's just gonna go up. Let's see. How can I do that? I might just have to move these around manually. But yeah, I want to be somewhere up around here. And it goes down a bit. I suppose from here to there we're going to try making this linear, which again is not going to look great, but if I want to have any chance of doing the whole thing with a blend tree, like handling different step heights between 0.8 meters and 1.2 meters with a blend tree, there's probably going to be some compromise here. Still not sure if I can even do that. Okay, let's see what that does. So now she's moving up. There's a lot less problems here than I thought there would be, to be honest. Just from looking at what the left knee is doing. Yeah, okay. I think we probably wanna make this even more of a jump, because again she should be... Actually, this is a good point in time to just try this out, because we're going to need to be tweaking animations for both of those cases, for the case of 0.8 meters and for the case of 1.4 meters. So give me a second. I'm going to create a duplicate of that cube, if I can select it, that is. We already have that, so that's the 1.2 cube. I'm going to put that here. And for this, let's see if I just have like a red material. Let's see what that is. Okay, it's not particularly red, but it's good. Yeah, let's see if we have anything else. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so she needs to be able to hit both of these step heights. And again, my hope is that I can do that with a blend tree to have her hit anything in between, which might be naive, but that's what I'm gonna try going for. Which means if she has any chance of doing both of these, she's gonna have to do a hop around here. So the way I'm going to try doing this with UMotion is to have an additive layer that just moves the root position. I'm going to call this higher jump. Which means I'm going to start with a position key on the spine. Let's go into the dope sheet here for a second. With a key here, and she's going down here, and here's where she's moving up. So I'm going to try, this is going to suck, I'm going to try taking this interval, and during this thing I'm going to just move up her root position. And I suppose I will have to do the same thing with those IK targets as well. Let's see. Let's just see what happens if I move up the root. Yeah, not great. So I'm going to have to move the root and both IK targets. 1 and a 2. And the pole targets as well, I think. Okay. And now I have all of these selected. This is gonna suck. Okay. Let's see what that does. All right, the first thing is if we want to have any chance at this, we probably already need to arrive here, or even earlier, although with a jump this extreme, the intersection of the foot with the ledge is probably not going to be the biggest issue that we will have. Still, let's see what happens if I move this even further so she does the whole jumping on from above thing. Well, yeah, not great. What we can say here is that from here to around here it would be fair enough if she stretched out her leg and maybe rotated out her foot, so all this stuff that I corrected earlier on we can probably retime that. Let me see. I'm going to be working on the base layer, and so the main issue that we had earlier on was that if I turn this all the way back down, is that this is just a horrible bend in the thigh and knee and so on. So we kind of want to move the root bone up quite a bit earlier, which is probably a pretty good match with this. So if the spine on the base layer if the root bone on the base layer at this point, let's just try this. Okay. So we probably want to be more around here. She goes down, she goes up, and from here on out, let's see what happens if I just flatten this. Yeah, I think she has some skinning issues as well. Because the skinning too is programmer art, but we actually want to iterate over that a little bit in the future. That's still on the list. Okay. So she goes down, and from here on out she's moving up. And I think what we want to do is just make this for now a pretty linear motion. See what that does. So here's where she gets all stretchy with the foot. Actually, okay, disregarding the stretchy leg for a second. What's that doing for us? And we still have to fix this. So how does that look if I turn on the jumpy thing? So at this point we probably want the foot to have rotated downward. And Honestly, we might want to do something about these curves. It's completely linear. That might actually not be that bad. But let's see what happens if I do this. I might even want to have her go down a little bit more here. Huh. Let's give that a try. Like so. Again, disregard the left foot. And yeah, this looks a little bit like stop motion as well, but might still be an improvement. Let's see what happens if I move this to the left a little bit. Can't I do that? I just want to move to the left without changing the... shit. Oh, this works. It's Alt. Alrighty. So let's see what that does. This is either much too early or much too late. Probably we want to do something like this. No. This is way too much. Okay. That works surprisingly well. All right. I'm going to make another backup here because I'm at a point where I think we can do something good with that. Okay, so this is the high jump. Really, except for the left leg, it's not too bad. Try running up against the wall in Breath of the Wild sometime and really look at what he's doing. Sorry about that. I'm perfectly aware that this is programmer art. Okay. Good. Let's deal with the left foot. Left leg and left foot. So what's happening here is from frame 21 on, she's stretching out the leg. Maybe just a little bit too much. And we can actually, we have keyframes there, right? So we can deal with that. Oop. Frame 21. So I could probably do something like this. Make that one flat. How do I flatten this? Am I blind? Where's the flat option? Okay. Let's do this manually then. Okay. So right here she's still stretched out a little bit. We could add a keyframe here, or, you know, what I'm thinking is I'll just try this. Add a position. And then we don't want to stop here. That makes no sense. We want this to go on linearly until maybe around here. And let's actually make these linear just to... Oh, here's free flat now, okay. Let's make these linear. This might be complete nonsense. I think this is complete nonsense. Okay, then back to the old plan. So the problem here is that with this animation, the left foot kind of stops. It moves up quickly, then here it just stops. Whereas if we look at the low jump, here it hasn't moved at all yet. Which explains the stopping. And here it starts moving. But unless I'm mistaken, let's look at this in the dope sheet. So this is the duration of the jump, the additive jump, right? So one thing we probably want to do is move these up a little bit. We're gonna look at that in more detail a bit later. We might even want to add a second layer and override the position of this foot. That might make more sense. Not quite sure yet. Just so we can get something smooth. That might actually make a lot of sense. But yeah, before we do that, let's have a look at the low step. So she's doing this, and we have the snapping of the left leg, and that's what we wanted to get rid of. So from here on, it's okay-ish. And before this doesn't work too well. So up to here it's okay, that's frame 31. And then 42, right? 42 is up to 42, the frames up to 42 are a real problem. 32 is okay as well. So between 32 and 42 we need to do something. Not quite sure what that is yet. Let's look at those. This is the Y position of the foot, right? Okay, this is frame 32. This is 42. So we don't... Can I deselect something? Yeah, okay, I can. Good. So that's frame 42. So it's about these frames in between. Where I think we want to move up a lot faster. Shit, I'm actually editing the spine. Fuck. Okay, left. No, I'm not. Yeah, I am. I have both of these open. That's new. Okay, so this is 42. That makes a lot more sense. That makes a lot more sense. And somewhere around... This must be 32, right? Yeah, okay. Let's see. Let's start by making these linear. Or auto. Or linear. Okay. So here we're still bent. And if we just make this a more or less linear curve. Here we're still bent. So how about this? Need to smooth this out a little bit. And now this roll of the foot, we're going to add this in much earlier. But I think this might work for us. Okay. And now that knee is going through that ledge again. Let's look at the toes. That's the rotation of the left toe. Oh yeah. And of course the rotation of the entire foot as well. It starts here. And we want that over there. So let's see if that works. Take a little more time with that, I suppose. I have to say I really don't understand these quaternion interpolation keyframes because I can't move this up or down. I normally work in Euler. But this isn't so bad. Check the toes. That is the left toe. Okay, undo this because I have no idea what's going on. Actually, let's convert this to Euler. Okay. So nothing on the x-axis as expected, nothing on the z-axis. It's all just in the y. And that is much more readable. We can probably get rid of these entirely. This one. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Timing used to be better, I think, and we're still intersecting this thing, which I think we never got around to. But if I look at this, and then turn up the high jump layer. I think we can work with this. The high jump layer, the left foot here still sucks, for sure. But I'm starting to think we're going to do this with an override layer, with an additional one. Let's try this right now. Going to save another backup. Okay, and I'm going to add an override layer. See what that does for us. I don't quite remember how these work, to be perfectly honest, but from here on out it's okay. Let's say from here. I'm gonna try keying the position of... Okay, that doesn't work. Why does that not work? Because we're supposedly not pinned. Let's see what happens if I do this. Did that do anything? Yeah, okay, that sucks. Why though? Okay, first order of business, figure out how to get keyframes onto this override layer. So, where was I? Let's see, I might be able to just set the foot to pinned and then copy paste the keyframes over for the base layer, the keyframes that I want. No, that's not good either, because yeah, actually that might work. Huh. So with this override layer, I think the thing is that we would need to copy all the keyframes from the layers below, but in an evaluated state, so that the higher jump additive keyframes would be applied to the keyframes on the layer below, and I don't think that UMotion is able to do that. Just a sec. So another huge pain point with this UMotion package is I don't think I can animate the weight of this layer. Otherwise this would be easy as well. But this is not animatable. To my best knowledge, I tried Googling it and I right-clicked on everything, every button, every setting that I could find. Tried constraints as well. So maybe we don't have a chance to fix this with an override layer. Before I give up on that though, I'm going to try pinning the IK, and this instantly messes things up. I don't know why, but since the IK is pinned in the base layers as well, I might be able to get all the positions and rotations of the left foot. Copy that, paste it here. So what we now have are the positions and rotations of the left foot before the higher jump thing, right? Which is bad. But this is just the IK. This is just the IK position of the foot. So this is much easier to manipulate by just changing the curves. These should pretty much just go from bottom to top. So what I think I can do here is just take the Y position. Just take the Y position and adjust it so that over here our IK is placed so that the foot is where it should be. So if I turn this off, let's compare. This is without the override layer. It's not entirely exact either. If I turn the override layer on, it's almost the same, which is great. And this part is now fixable, because so that's frame 49, because I can probably just go ahead and delete every keyframe between 49 and here's where the whole thing starts. Wasn't this supposed to be rolling? Let me deactivate both of these. Did we have a roll there? Yeah, we did. But the rotation, I suppose, is overwritten. Not quite sure. No, it's not. This is okay. This is just happening later now. So we might want to take care of the foot rotation as well. So let's just see what happens if I okay, frame here and then delete everything from here. That's frame 22 to, what was it, frame 42, I think. No, it has to be later, because the foot needs to be able to reach the IK target. That was frame 48. So 48 from 22. That should be like here. And let's have some broken tangents. So this whole let's actually kill that keyframe as well. Make that one linear. Just have an easier time. This one has a tangent. Let's see what that does. Okay, that might be overdoing it actually. So here she's starting to pull her foot in. So here the way I see it, here it's probably okay if that foot is stretched almost all the way out, because we just started jumping, and it's gonna stay like that for a little while, and then she's gonna start pulling it in. Which means we probably want somewhat flat tangents here, and I'm not quite sure what I want there yet, but also not entirely sure if we should start out flat here. Probably not. So she's going down, she's going up. This actually looks halfway decent. Going down, going up. As she's going up, her leg gets stretched out all the way, but I think that's okay. We might even try moving the foot out here. See what that does. So let's add the z-axis. That's too much, I think. But a little bit, I don't mind. Okay. All right. I've spent about 1.5 hours on this, and I don't want to take too long, because first of all, this is gonna at some point hopefully disappear from the game anyway, and the second thing is, it still remains to be proven that I can actually use a blend tree to mix these two versions of the animation. Still, I'm of course gonna fix the worst issues that we have here, like the rotation of the foot. But I just wanna make sure I don't get lost in this, because it's a ton of fun. Okay, so let's try the rotation next. We got this. I'm gonna convert those to Euler. Or am I? Let's first give this a little try. See if it works without that. Because no, of course it doesn't. Euler it is. So in this case it's apparently the x-axis that I need to deal with, which is fine. So this is the end state of that rotation, which I think we just need to reach a lot faster. Let's get rid of that. Do something like this, see what happens. Okay. Not half bad. Can be a little bit later, I think. Or I've seen worse. Okay, timing over here with the foot is just messed up. I don't know if we can do anything about that though. How's the bending of the whole thing? That is serviceable. It's just the timing here sucks. Question is, can we do anything about this? And also, should we do anything about this? Because if we change the timing too much, we might run into issues with the blend tree. I should probably start trying that out. Either way, there's a couple of other fish to fry. But still though, what's happening? This is moving up. Maybe the toe rotation might be throwing me off as well, because that is for sure not the way it should be. Let's see. That's the left toe. So, where is it? There it is. It's set to Euler, which is good. And here we are. I'm just gonna copy that whole track. Copy that whole track. Put it on my left foot high layer. Now we're overriding that left toe. And this whole animation just needs to play a whole lot earlier. Let's see what that does. And I suppose it also needs to be a whole lot faster. What does it? Actually, I think what we want to do is we want to do the whole foot rotation right here. So we have a proper jump. Do the whole foot rotation right here. Does that look healthy? It sure does. Okay. And then counteract with a toe. And I think another thing about the timing that made it look so awkward was that between here and here the rotation of the foot doesn't change at all anymore, which I think, let's just have it do something, right? I don't know if it should rotate back or bend back even more. Let's go the other way, see what happens. This is probably too fast. This part, I mean. We could probably get rid of that. Yeah, okay. There's a tiny little jiggle here. I'm not sure if I care about that though. Oh god, this sucks. Okay, what's the suckiness? Let's see. Just from here to there, it doesn't seem to have any energy. That's the right term, I'm sure. Look, it looks like it's moving super slow here, while the rest of the body is moving really fast. So it's firmly planted here, and then it goes up, and then it just does this sort of linear motion. Very linear. Okay, and this is not something we want. What is it we want? We might wanna just have it arrive up here a little bit sooner. Here's the peak, and this is where the foot is bent, the leg is bent all the way. And here we just have this linear motion of the IK target where the knee bends accordingly. And then here there's a phase where there's not a whole lot of change in the bend. I think what I'm gonna try doing, and I have no idea whether that's the right way of handling this, but I think what I'm gonna try doing is just make it bend up a lot faster. And over here. That doesn't look so bad, except for the major intersection here. But let's see it in motion. I would say that's an improvement. Now we have a bit of a problem at the other side of this. But yeah. Let me try this the other way around, because I think we can replicate this. I'm going to take a screenshot of that curve, because that's a good workflow. But let's see I want to try this the other way around. So now we're starting to bend the foot a lot faster. What happens if we do the opposite? And just something like this. So we move up, we have the leg stretched all the way out, and then not sure what to do about this keyframe. So let's make it linear for now, which is where we got into this whole mess, I know. So what I probably want is, since we're trying the opposite, so this leg is moving slowly. Down here we have a problem. So this is super jittery. How are we doing timing wise? I think that might be better. Maybe a bit of a combination of those two. Let me get rid of the jitteriness first. Which means get rid of the frames where the knee is stretched out all the way, where we can't reach the IK target. And then from up there we want to do something that's a little more like an S-curve. See if this does anything for us. And now I'm not entirely sure if the whole move the foot around on the Z-axis was a great idea. Let's see what it looks like without that. To be honest, I think this whole part just needs to be a whole lot faster. What's with the jitteriness of the knee, though? This is an issue of the pole target, I think. So what's happening with that? We are on an override layer. we should be able to just copy that whole thing over. Okay. And this whole thing, we can get rid of that, I think. Let me kick out one of those. And then from maybe here on, we can just do whatever. Did it just flip? This here might be a bit of a problem. Let me move all those out along the z-axis. See what that does. Just to make sure. This is kind of a weird motion, but it's over quickly. Whoop. And whoop. Might be an issue with this. We might want to just we might want to just reduce the height of the whole thing a little bit. See? Still looks weird. I think that's pretty good. I mean, yeah, okay, that's good enough for now. Okay, to review, this is the high jump, and I'll move that cube over in a minute, and deactivating both of those will result in the low jump, which is not much of a jump at all. If I look closely at the left knee, it's still doing a lot of jittery crap because the pole target there is doing whatever. Which is kind of weird. What's the parent of this pole target? It's gotta have a parent, right? That's parented to the root bone. Oh, okay. I'm still on the wrong layer. So this is where the pole target is, and that one is doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Let's see. Okay, so I can probably get rid of a lot of those keyframes too, just as I did before. Maybe kill one over here and over there, and then everything in between. Okay, and that's much better. Okay, so low step. And then high jump. And just for fun, this is probably not going to work, but just for fun, let's see what happens if I turn both of those up halfway. Okay, that's actually 1 meter. Did not think this would work. We still have issues here, probably because the left foot. See? But this is very promising for my hopes of doing the blend tree thing. Okay, going to do another backup at this point. I think I'm up to 4, is that right? Yep. Go back to the animation. And now, I originally mentioned that I did not like the arc of the spine here. That's a little bit too confident for my taste. Particularly at the end. So I think I'm gonna just add another override layer. Another additive layer. Call it spine. Stick with the naming convention that I started here. So what exactly is it that I do? I'm going to wiggle this around a little bit, just so that I have a set of keyframes, hopefully, that it can record. Can it do that? Key dialog. Yeah, it recorded a bunch of changes, and I can add keys to that. So I don't want to change anything from here on out. And I don't want to change anything up to here. But over here, this is something I really like about UMotion. I can just adjust the spine, which I think is good enough, quite honestly. Add keys. Do the same thing down here. And that's better. Okay, what else? I think we're almost done. Let's start with the base layer, have a good look at that. Any remaining intersections that I want to get rid of. The foot here, I never took care of that. Could still do that. Let's give this one quick try. Other than that, I think we're doing quite fine. So it's the right IK foot position. We could try to do this with another additive layer. What we want to do, I suppose, is just make sure we could either manipulate the Z coordinates of that IK target, because here it's okay, here it's okay. Or we could do that with an additive layer, which I think might be easier. So that's the right foot. Only problem might be, yeah, no, let's give this a try with an additive. Right foot Z. So around here it's okay. So let's key the position there, and then here it's good as well. So this is an additive layer, and here is the worst part of the, oh, that's not Z, that's X. Is it though? Weird. Here's the worst part of the intersection, so I'm just going to move this out. see what that does. So we have a bit of an intersection in the knee, but other than that, that's much better. Okay, this might very likely still look like shit if I turn on the high jump. Let's see. High jump time. This is probably a good time for moving that cube to the center so that we can actually look at the intersections of the high jump. I'm going to turn this off first. And that's not that bad. We might actually take care of these intersections by animating the pole targets as well. But with a jump this high, I'm not sure if I even care. But since we're here, this still works. So if I turn this on, it's at least an improvement. I mean, we have a more unnatural bend in the knee, but that's okay. I think I'm going to call this a day soon. Before I do that, I think I'm going to give the whole anticipation phase one more try, one more nudge. So we have this part here where she goes down a little bit with her root bone, then goes up. And I'm going to try noodling around with that a little bit more. So now she goes a lot deeper. Maybe even more. That looks like it takes effort, right? Which is what I want, to be sure. Maybe even add a keyframe here. Yeah, I like this. Gotta see it in-game. I have to see this in-game. Okay, what happens if I turn all this off? Yeah, and maybe the cube as well. That's all right. Okay, I'm going to give this a try. Set up a blend tree next. But I think this worked out quite well. At just about 2 hours. Thanks for watching.